Okay, so let's talk about Joppa stream yesterday. While we are running over here and trying to get some XP and trying to avoid this Titan that walks back and forth here that always somehow sneaks up on me, and I get very spooked. But Joppa stream yesterday was a shorter stream. He had some technical difficulties with, he didn't have technical difficulties, but there were some issues trying to log into the dev server. So it ended up being a shorter stream, and then he had some things that he had to do with his family. So, not a lot of big updates for yesterday's stream. He did talk about the PvP in the very beginning, and they're going to hopefully start doing some internal testing this week. And then the plan is still to get the PvP server up sometime this month. That's pretty much all there is to do or know about the PvP server and that information. Next up, he did talk about the dual command coming into the game. They do want to have a dual command. So speaking of PvP, they want to add PvP-ish to the PvE servers via a dual command. That is something, though, that they're not really looking at right now. It's not an easy implementation, and it does require some more coding, so they are not doing that at the moment, but that is something that will be coming at some point soon. He then goes into showing off more of the Eastern Plains area that he's been working on with the gnolls / werewolf kind of looking area. That's going to be coming in today's patch. A lot of talk about Unity 6 again, showing off some more of the lighting effects and the depth that he so likes to talk about. New things that are trying to work on with this new dungeon are the EP area that they're putting in, and then also Hangor. All are going to have some changes to their itemization and timers, things like that, how rare items are. So look for those. And there's going to be some new updated items in Hangor starting today after the patch. So that is a big deal. Definitely go check out the new EP area and Hangor after the patch today. We're going to be getting some new items coming into the game from both of those. They are fully itemized at this point. UI changes are coming, but there is no ETA on that right now. So, hopefully we'll get some of those. The ignore command is coming in today. Drakes in AVP have changed a little bit. Those drakes that, if you know where they are, way up in the top of the mountain area, those drakes have been changed some, adding some unique abilities and itemization. I believe there's a named drake up there that now actually does drop items from what he said in his stream. So you might want to check that area out. After that, he did some Halnir Cave running around for a little bit, showing off more of the lighting, more of the Unity 6 stuff there. And a new entry portal into Halnir Cave. Instead of having just like in the beginning, I don't know if you guys played in the beginning, but there was just a open space, so a black open space you walk into. Then they kind of made it more cave-esque walking into, and now they're adding in a what appears to be like a portal looking thing that you walk into. So they're trying different types of visual effects to go into different dungeons like Halnir Cave. He also chatted a little bit about readiness. The question was brought up if there were going to be any changes to readiness generation mostly for tanks or when you're getting hit. So basically mitigation readiness generation. The general consensus on that is a maybe. It might come in to where, when you block a hit, you might get readiness, or when you take damage, you might gain some readiness to try to smooth out some of that readiness generation to make it a little bit quicker for certain classes. But there is an issue with that, and that is people just kind of have a low-level mob run around with them and constantly are hitting them to gain lots of extra readiness without being any type of hindrance to them, because they're just able to mitigate the damage very easily, or it's very, very low damage. After that, that's when the technical difficulties started. So technical difficulties kind of lasted for about the next hour after that. But still chatted about a few things. There's trivial loot code is one of the questions that keeps popping up. People are tired of, I guess, higher level players killing lower level mobs, and it is frustrating. I understand how it's frustrating, but there is no plan to add trivial loot code. If you don't know what trivial loot code is, it is basically where if you are killing a mob of substantially lower difficulty, it changes the loot that it can potentially drop, sometimes negating that or whatever. That's where that comes from. There's no plan for that. Audio team is working on some cool stuff with the Bard. So this is around the 105 if you want to go listen to it, an hour and 5 minute mark, where Joppa will probably have to stop what he's doing on a couple of different things and start working on the Bard to get the Bard into place, because the audio team has requested a working Bard model, at least, so that they can start working on the audio for the Bards. So that's something that could be coming soonish, but that does not mean that Bard will be in the game soon. It just might mean that some other things may end up being delayed so that Joppa can work on getting, a basis of the Bard in, so that the audio team can start working on that. That is part of that thing that we talked about in previous videos, where that we as a player may want A, they are currently working on B, and then they have to go and work on C so that somebody else can get back to A, and et cetera, et cetera. So it's just one of those things that's, delegating some stuff out. Next up, lighting. So around the 1 hour, 12 minute mark, there was a lengthy discussion about lighting and what the plan is going forward with lighting. Currently, the plan is to have 3 different light sources. So you're going to have a lantern, a torch, or possible light stones type things. Light stones would be something akin to like a wisp. And those are going to have different types of effects, different types of functionality in the game. Light source, like a torch, is going to be more illuminating the general area around you. Lanterns is going to be more, of focusing on certain things more, in a direction kind of situation. And then a light stone would be more of, I'm going to say seeing magical things, or seeing things that are usually unseen. That's kind of where they're going with that. Obviously, these things can all change. There will be places in the game that are going to be completely pitch black, and a light source will be required. That is the at least the plan going forward. And they do want to get back to where you want to be holding a light source in your hand. So right now we have the inventory slot that you can see here, where the light source just kind of goes into an inventory slot. They want to be able to get back to where you're holding it in your hand, but make that toggleable. So it would be like a Z toggle, where you have your weapons out, and then you can switch to holding your torch out, but easily be able to switch back and forth, I think, is what the plan is for that. Also, there's going to be enemies that they call Dark Foe, or have the trait called Dark Foe. And that Dark Foe trait will avoid light at all costs. However, it might seek out to try to take out lights. So if there's lighting in the area, you might have a Dark Foe that comes and attacks you because there's a light there, and they're like, hey, we don't like the light. So that's something that they may be adding in sometime in the future, which is kind of a cool thing to have, I think. So we'll see where that goes. There was a little bit of discussion about mastery, very, very briefly, at the 1 hour, 30 minute mark. And it was basically just saying that mastery is going to have choices. Those choices are going to matter. Not every class is going to end up being the exact same. Rogues are getting some love in this update, along with the Feigned Death and things like that for the Monk. So we will be getting some rogue updates, finally getting a little bit of love there. Also, the possibility of adding a flat damage decrease for mitigation at lower levels that will then fade as you get higher level to help to smooth out the transition for tanks that are lower level and not fully geared yet. They will be able to have a little bit more of a damage mitigation, and actually a noticeable damage mitigation rather than just the percentage base that you get at higher level, because the percentage base works at the higher level well, but they don't like how it feels in the lower levels. Last 2 things that we're going to talk about is the first raid. He did mention, somebody asked when the first raid was coming, and Joppa did give us a little bit of a teaser on when that may be. So the new area coming out in SP, in Silent Plains, which is the area that I am currently in right now. This is where they're going to have a huge update sometime soon. We do not have a date on that, but in that is likely going to have a raid somewhere in it. So that could be coming fairly soon-ish, in the next few weeks, maybe a month or so. But that's just speculation on my part. And then finally, the last thing is the Druid. It looks like it's very likely going to be pushed back until February 19th at this point. It was going to come out February 12th. That was what the plan was, but it is now being pushed back so we are not further disappointed. It could come earlier, but he said, to not disappoint anyone, let's go ahead and plan for the February 19th update. So that is going to be it for the Joppa stream update. If I get any further news, I will let you all know.